Every 36 seconds, someone dies from heart disease, and clogged arteries are often the silent culprit. The shocking truth is that by the time most people notice something is wrong, the damage is already advanced. Artery blockages don't always cause sudden, dramatic chest pain. Instead, they creep in quietly, sending out subtle signals that many mistake for stress, aging, or simple tiredness. These blockages occur when plaque, a dangerous mix of cholesterol, fat, calcium, and other waste, builds up inside the arteries, narrowing them and restricting blood flow. For those over 50, the risks rise sharply due to slower metabolism, aging blood vessels, and higher chances of high blood pressure, diabetes, or elevated cholesterol. Ignoring the early signs can lead to life-threatening complications like heart attack, stroke, or peripheral artery disease. Today, you'll discover 7 silent warning signs your arteries may be narrowing and how to protect your heart and your life. Number 1. Unexplained fatigue. Unexplained fatigue is one of the most overlooked early warning signs of artery blockages, especially in people over 50. Fatigue, in this context, isn't just about feeling tired after a long day. It's a deep, persistent exhaustion that lingers, even after a full night's rest. The underlying cause often lies in poor circulation. When plaque builds up in the arteries, it narrows the passageways and reduces blood flow. This means less oxygen-rich blood reaches your muscles and vital organs, forcing your body to work harder to perform even the simplest tasks. As a result, your muscles tire more quickly, and your energy reserves drain faster than normal. Many people mistake this type of fatigue for the natural effects of aging, stress, or poor sleep quality. They might attribute it to being out of shape or just getting older. But there's a critical difference. In artery-related fatigue, the exhaustion often sets in after minimal activity, something as simple as walking across a room, climbing a few stairs, or carrying groceries. Just as telling, the fatigue typically improves with rest, only to return once activity resumes. This symptom can be especially deceptive in women, where fatigue is often one of the earliest indicators of heart disease, sometimes appearing without the classic chest pain that's more common in men. In fact, research shows that women are more likely to report unusual tiredness or weakness weeks before a heart attack occurs. Because fatigue is such a common complaint with countless possible causes, it's easy to dismiss. But if this tiredness is new, persistent, and disproportionate to your activity level, it's essential to take it seriously, especially if it's paired with other symptoms like shortness of breath, dizziness, or mild chest discomfort. The next step, get a cardiovascular workup. This may include blood tests, an ECG, or imaging to assess heart and artery health. Identifying reduced circulation early can prevent further damage and dramatically lower the risk of a heart attack or stroke. If you're feeling unusually exhausted without a clear reason, don't chalk it up to aging. Your body might be signaling that your arteries are struggling to deliver the oxygen you need. Number 2, shortness of breath during light activity. Shortness of breath during light activity is another subtle yet serious warning sign of artery blockages that many people overlook. It occurs when the coronary arteries, the vessels supplying blood and oxygen to your heart muscle, become narrowed by plaque buildup. This narrowing limits the amount of oxygen-rich blood your heart can receive, especially when you exert yourself. Even mild activities, like walking to the mailbox, climbing a few stairs, or carrying a light bag, can place extra demand on your heart. If the arteries can't meet that demand, your heart struggles and you feel breathless. The most common mistake people make is dismissing this symptom as being just out of shape or getting older. While fitness level can play a role, artery-related shortness of breath often appears suddenly or worsens over time, even without weight gain or lifestyle changes. This is because the underlying problem isn't weak lungs or poor stamina, but restricted blood flow to the heart itself. A major red flag is when shortness of breath happens without intense exercise. If you find yourself gasping for air during activities that were once easy, or even while resting, this could signal a significant circulation problem. In some cases, the symptom may be so gradual that you only notice it when you compare your current abilities to what you could do a few months ago. This warning sign becomes even more urgent if it's accompanied by chest tightness, pressure, dizziness, or unusual sweating. These could indicate angina, a sign that your heart isn't getting enough oxygen and that a heart attack could be imminent. If you experience unexplained breathlessness, especially if it's new or worsening, seek medical evaluation immediately. A doctor may order tests such as an ECG, echocardiogram, or stress test to assess how your heart responds under strain. Early detection of artery blockages can lead to lifestyle changes, medications, or procedures that restore blood flow and prevent serious events like heart attacks. If light activity leaves you winded, don't write it off as poor fitness. It may be your heart warning you of a dangerous blockage. Number 3, pain, numbness, or cramps in the legs. Pain, numbness, or cramps in the legs can be an early sign of peripheral artery disease, PAD, a condition caused by plaque buildup in the arteries that supply blood to your legs and feet. Just like coronary artery disease, PAD develops when cholesterol, fat, calcium, and other substances collect along the artery walls, narrowing them and restricting blood flow. One of the most common symptoms is claudication, a sharp cramping or aching pain in the calves, thighs, or hips that appears while walking or climbing stairs and disappears after a short rest. This happens because during physical activity, your muscles demand more oxygen-rich blood than narrowed arteries can deliver. Resting reduces that demand, so the discomfort fades temporarily, but it always returns when activity resumes. Some people may also experience numbness, tingling, or a heavy feeling in the legs, particularly after walking even short distances. In advanced cases, the skin on the legs or feet may appear pale or bluish, and wounds may heal very slowly due to poor circulation. PAD is more than just a leg problem. It's a serious red flag for overall cardiovascular health. The same arterial blockages that limit blood flow to your legs often exist in the heart and brain as well, making PAD a powerful predictor of future heart attack or stroke. Studies show that people with PAD have a much higher risk of fatal cardiovascular events compared to those without it. If you have persistent leg pain, numbness, or cramps during activity, especially if you're over 50, smoke, or have diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, you should ask your doctor for an ankle brachial index, ABI test. This simple, painless test compares the blood pressure in your ankles with the blood pressure in your arms to detect circulation problems. Don't ignore leg pain or cramping that comes with walking and eases with rest. It's not just a sign of getting older. It could be your body warning you about dangerous artery blockages that threaten both your limbs and your life. Number 4, erectile dysfunction in men. Erectile dysfunction, ED, in men is often viewed purely as a hormonal or psychological issue, but in many cases, it's actually an early warning sign of circulation problems, specifically artery blockages. While testosterone levels, stress, and mental health can influence sexual performance, a significant number of ED cases stem from inadequate blood flow to the penis. Here's why this matters. The arteries in the penis are smaller than the coronary arteries that supply blood to the heart. That means if plaque begins to build up in your vascular system, the smaller arteries are likely to show signs of reduced blood flow much sooner. In other words, ED can appear years before you ever feel chest pain or experience other heart symptoms. Medical research supports this link. Studies show that men with ED are at a significantly higher risk of developing serious heart problems, including heart attack and stroke, within 3 to 5 years after the onset of symptoms. In fact, some cardiologists refer to ED as a canary in the coal mine for heart health, signaling that something may be wrong with the arteries long before more obvious cardiovascular symptoms appear. Unfortunately, many men either ignore ED or treat it solely with medication like Viagra without investigating the underlying cause. While such medications may help in the short term, they do nothing to address the possibility of progressive artery blockages. If you're experiencing persistent ED, especially if you're over 40, have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or a history of smoking, it's crucial to view it as a potential cardiovascular red flag. A doctor can order tests to check your cholesterol, blood sugar, and circulation, and may recommend lifestyle changes or treatments to protect your heart. Erectile dysfunction isn't just a bedroom issue. It can be your body's first signal that your arteries are narrowing. Taking it seriously could not only improve your sexual health, but also prevent life-threatening heart problems down the road. Number 5, cold hands and feet. Cold hands and feet can be more than just a sign of chilly weather. In some cases, it's a symptom of poor blood circulation caused by narrowed peripheral arteries. When plaque builds up inside these arteries, it restricts blood flow to the extremities, making it harder for warm, oxygen-rich blood to reach your hands and feet. This reduced circulation can cause your skin temperature to drop, leaving your fingers and toes feeling cold even when the surrounding environment is warm. One key clue that this may be artery-related rather than just a sensitivity to temperature is persistent coldness that doesn't improve after warming up or changing environments. If your hands and feet remain cold to the touch regardless of the season or room temperature, it may be a sign that your circulatory system is struggling to deliver adequate blood flow. You may also notice numbness, tingling, or a pins and needles sensation in the extremities. In more advanced cases, the skin can appear pale, bluish, or slightly shiny due to chronic oxygen deprivation. These changes are often more pronounced in the toes, fingers, and nails. 2 common medical conditions may be at play. Peripheral artery disease, PAD, caused by plaque buildup in the arteries, often associated with an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Raynaud's phenomenon, a condition where small blood vessels constrict excessively in response to cold or stress, reducing blood flow to fingers and toes. While Raynaud's is sometimes harmless, PAD is a serious cardiovascular condition that requires prompt attention. That's why you should never assume persistent cold hands or feet are harmless, especially if you're over 50 or have other risk factors like smoking, high cholesterol, diabetes, or high blood pressure. If you notice these symptoms, ask your doctor for a vascular exam. This may include checking pulses in your extremities, an ankle brachial index test, or ultrasound imaging to assess blood flow. Chronic coldness in your hands or feet could be your body's way of warning you that your arteries are narrowing. Identifying and treating the cause early can help protect both your circulation and your heart health. Number 6, jaw, neck, or back discomfort. Jaw, neck, or back discomfort is one of the most overlooked warning signs of artery blockages, largely because most people associate heart trouble exclusively with chest pain. In reality, not all heart-related discomfort occurs in the chest. When blood flow to the heart is reduced due to narrowed coronary arteries, the nerves that carry pain signals can trigger referred pain, discomfort that radiates to other parts of the body, particularly the jaw, neck, or upper back. This symptom is especially common in women who are more likely than men to experience atypical heart symptoms. In fact, research shows that women having a heart attack may report jaw or back pain more often than classic chest pain. Because these areas don't seem directly connected to the heart, people often mistake the discomfort for muscle strain, dental problems, or stress tension. One important red flag is when this discomfort appears during physical exertion or emotional stress and fades with rest. This pattern suggests the pain is linked to increased demand on the heart, a hallmark sign of angina, which can indicate significant artery narrowing. The sensation might feel like a dull ache, tightness, or pressure, and in some cases, it can spread from the chest upward into the jaw or downward into the back. The danger lies in dismissing these symptoms. By attributing them to minor issues, many delay getting checked until the problem becomes critical, sometimes leading to a heart attack without prior warning. If you experience unexplained jaw, neck, or back discomfort, particularly if it's new, recurrent, or paired with shortness of breath, sweating, dizziness, or nausea, you should seek immediate medical evaluation. Your doctor may order an ECG, stress test, or imaging to determine if reduced blood flow to the heart is the cause. Heart problems don't always announce themselves with crushing chest pain. Jaw, neck, or back discomfort, especially during activity or stress, can be your body's subtle plea for help. Recognizing it early could prevent a life-threatening cardiac event.
Number 7, mild swelling in feet or ankles. Mild swelling in the feet or ankles, also known as peripheral edema, can sometimes be an early subtle sign of underlying heart trouble, including coronary artery disease. This swelling occurs when chronic poor circulation and the heart's reduced pumping efficiency cause fluid to build up in the tissues, particularly in the lower extremities. When your arteries are narrowed by plaque, the heart has to work harder to push blood throughout the body. Over time, this strain can cause fluid retention as blood flow slows and pressure builds in the veins. It's important to differentiate heart-related swelling from harmless causes. For example, temporary swelling can result from sitting for long periods, hot weather, or minor injuries, and usually resolves on its own. However, swelling caused by circulation problems tends to occur consistently, is more noticeable toward the end of the day, and often improves overnight when you've been lying down and gravity isn't pulling fluid into your legs. In early stages, the swelling might be mild, leaving a small indentation if you press on the skin, pitting edema. As the condition progresses, you may also notice tightness in your shoes or socks, leaving deep marks on your skin. If left unchecked, the swelling can worsen and may be accompanied by fatigue, shortness of breath, or weight gain, all of which can signal heart failure. The link to coronary artery disease is critical. Blocked or narrowed arteries can weaken the heart muscle over time, making it less efficient at circulating blood. This reduced efficiency allows fluid to leak into surrounding tissues, especially in the ankles and feet. If you experience persistent or worsening swelling, particularly if it's symmetrical in both legs and occurs daily, you should seek medical evaluation. Your doctor may order blood tests, echocardiograms, or vascular studies to identify whether heart disease is the underlying cause. Don't dismiss mild, recurring swelling in your feet or ankles as a minor inconvenience. When tied to poor circulation, it can be an early warning sign that your heart is under strain from narrowed arteries, and addressing it early can help prevent serious complications.
Prevention and Action Plan. Prevention and Action Plan is your roadmap to protecting your arteries and lowering your risk of heart attack, stroke, and other complications from artery blockages. While genetics can play a role, lifestyle choices and regular health monitoring are the most powerful tools you have to keep your arteries clear and your heart strong. Quit smoking. Smoking damages the lining of your arteries, accelerates plaque buildup, and reduces oxygen in your blood. Quitting at any age immediately starts improving circulation and reducing cardiovascular risk. Follow a heart healthy diet. Adopt eating patterns like the Mediterranean or DASH diet, which emphasize vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats like olive oil and nuts, and minimal processed foods or added sugars. These diets help lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and support healthy blood pressure. Exercise regularly. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. Brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or resistance training. Exercise improves blood flow, strengthens the heart muscle, and helps control weight and blood sugar. Maintain a healthy weight and blood pressure. Excess weight and high blood pressure both accelerate artery damage. Keep your BMI in a healthy range and work toward a blood pressure under 120/80 millimeters mercury unless advised otherwise by your doctor. Medical checkups. Monitor your cholesterol, blood sugar, and blood pressure regularly, at least annually if you're over 50, or more often if you have risk factors.
Screening tools for early detection. Coronary calcium scan detects calcium deposits in heart arteries before symptoms appear. Ankle brachial index, ABI test, checks for PAD by comparing blood pressure in your ankles and arms. Stress test assesses how well your heart handles physical exertion and detects circulation problems. You can't control your age or family history, but you can control your habits and how closely you monitor your health. Combining smart lifestyle choices with regular screenings offers the best defense against artery blockages and the life-threatening conditions they can cause. Silent signs of artery blockages are not harmless. They are your body's early SOS. These subtle symptoms are often your heart's way of warning you before a life-threatening event strikes. Catching blockages early can mean the difference between enjoying a long, healthy life and facing sudden, irreversible consequences. If you're over 50, don't ignore these signals. Your heart may be whispering before it shouts. Have you or someone you know experienced any of these signs? Share your story in the comments. It might just save a life. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more life-saving health insights.